So I've been asked many times about my ascension journey, so I thought I'd share some of this story with you today in hopes that it will help you on your journey and to gain greater understanding of some of the trials and tribulations that can come about as you are waking up and beginning your ascension process. I'm Lara, the Tigress of the Light. I'm an international bestselling author of multiple books, channeler, healer, intuitive, and developer of fractaline healing. But all this didn't happen overnight. In fact, I had to suffer a career-ending injury from falling off my horse. I was an international level show jumper, and I experienced a traumatic fall in the warm-up ring at a competition. And this back injury that I incurred from this fall was absolutely devastating. It left me basically crippled for 3 years. I couldn't function. I had to move back in with my mom, who had to dry my hair after I had a shower because I couldn't even dry my hair. I couldn't make food for myself. I couldn't function. I mean, the big outing for the day was about a 10-minute walk to the park and back. That was about all I could handle. And so my life stopped. I lost my friends. I lost the career that I loved, the horses. It was absolutely devastating. Plus, I was in this chronic pain that was almost unbearable. Like, my doctor had me maxed out on every medication he could give me, including narcotics. None of it was doing any good. I saw about 19 different professionals on Vancouver Island and Vancouver, spoke with many, many people. Nobody had an idea what to do with me. This wasn't a surgical case. Any intervention we tried seemed to set my body back. There was no end in sight. And then suddenly, there was a day in the summertime, about 3 years into this, when I had almost like a divine intervention. That's all I can sort of, the best I can explain it, I suppose. And what happened was, it was like my body was rejecting the medications. My medications hadn't changed, but I suddenly went into full-on narcotic withdrawal. It was as if my body said, we're not doing this anymore. So from that day on, I just started coming off everything, started weaning myself off of all the medications I was on. And let me tell you, there was a big list. And it took 3 years for me to wean my body off because I noticed that I was so sensitive. And by the way, if anybody's come off medications, you know the discomfort that can come with this. But my body was so sensitive that I could only drop down a very little bit once every 3 weeks. It took 21 days for my body to adjust to the new medication level. So it took me 3 years to get off everything. And I haven't looked back. I'm not, fortunately I don't have an addictive personality. I'm very grateful for that because that's something that I didn't have to take on as well. But my body really went through it. And my body really went through it. And I didn't know what was going to be on the other side for me. I didn't know if I was going to continue with chronic pain. I didn't know if I was going to have any kind of light or life. So, but fortunately, as I weaned myself off, as I got off all those medications, the pain level diminished. So then I realized that I had inadvertently being thrown into our narcotic pain cycle where the narcotics were actually causing the pain. Now, I'm not a doctor. This is just what I have learned as a patient and as someone who has taken on all these different medications. So for me, that was the case. And so 3 years later, we're off the medications and I'm back riding my horses and I'm so happy and I compete and I practice and I train and I actually got back to the level that I was at before the accident. No one thought it was possible. It was such a win for me. And then after that happened, my horse got injured. I bought another horse. That relationship didn't work out. The sport wasn't going anywhere. So I decided to take a break. As I moved into this new space of taking a break, I got really interested in energy healing. I decided I was going to become an energy healer. I wanted to become a hands-on healer because I had experienced some amazing treatments from various energy healers, and I loved the feel of energy. So I looked into Reiki. So I got my Reiki 1, 2, 3, then Karuna, then also got magnified healing, which was like, wow, talk about an amazing healing modality. And as I'm learning about all this stuff, I learn about Rosalind Bruyere. And she is an acclaimed healer out of California and soon became my teacher. So I began traveling to her workshops wherever she held them, whether they were in Hawaii or California or Ohio. It didn't matter. I was going. I committed myself fully and completely to learn from her because she's truly a master. Not only a master in the healing arts, but also of a lot of spiritual techniques, and channeling. Her channeling ability is incredible. So I wanted to learn from her. And I joined her program. Her mystery school is a modern day mystery school modeled after the ancient Egyptian mystery schools. So I've been in this program for 5 or 6 years at this point. But anyway, as we continue to learn from Rosalind and from her husband who teaches alongside with her, Ken, as I learned from both of them, and as I practiced what they were teaching me, and as I read books and began channeling more and more myself, something very interesting happened. I had a dream one night, very vivid dream, and I woke up and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I've learned since that this is when the veil is the thinnest. This is when spirit can really communicate with us. There were symbols floating around my room, like I could see with my naked eye. Now I have very poor eyesight. I need to wear glasses. I'm wearing contacts right now. But I could see them crystal clear. I had nothing in my eyes, but I could see them floating around my room, this brilliant silver in the darkness of my room, 3 o'clock in the morning. They were like, wow. So I drew them. And as I drew them, because I knew that they were important, I had no idea what they were, but I knew they were important, I was introduced to a guide. And I could really, this was such a strong experience for me. And the guide introduced himself and said that he'd be working with me for a while. And he didn't tell me very much. I went back to sleep. I woke up the next day, went to yoga, and as I was in a yoga class, I had more symbols come to me, but this time they weren't external. They weren't floating around the yoga room. They were in my mind's eye. I was like, wow, okay, well, I can't write these down right now. Please, Spirit, can you help me to remember them until I get home? They did. I got home, I was able to draw them perfectly, everything was great. So I'm looking at these symbols, and I have no idea what they are. No idea. I thought they were pretty cool. I like symbols, but I didn't know what they were. So I kept them in a little book in my journal, and I went about my life, practicing healing, playing with pendulums, collecting crystals, doing all the things that we do, and especially in the beginning of our journey, as we're just dabbling and exploring and getting excited about it all. I would go to a cafe, and this was a kind of a raw food sort of cafe. I'd go and get beautiful juices and salads and smoothies and such. And while I would hang out there, this became my haunt. I would just go and relax there. I'd go ride my horse because I was still riding a little bit, just very casually. And then I'd go hang out at this cafe. And people would come and sit next to me, and they would share their stories. They would share the struggles that they were going through. And I, of course, would want to help, right? Well, as someone who's training in healing arts, hands-on healing, I really wanted to lay my hands on them and make them feel better, whatever it was that they were going through. But this wasn't a particularly appropriate place for me to lay on of hands. So instead, I noticed that this symbol would come into my mind, into my mind's eye. And I would just say to this person sitting next to me who's struggling, I'd say, I see a symbol that might be helpful for you. Do you want me to draw it? And they'd say, yeah, sure. Like, it was completely normal. Like, so I'd find paper and a pen and I'd draw it for them. I'd take a picture with my phone so I had a record of it, and I'd give them the original. This would happen day after day after day. Almost every time I went into this cafe, somebody would show up next to me, spill their guts out, and there'd be a symbol that would be helpful to their particular situation. And every single time, whoever it was totally grateful and interested and wanted this strange symbol. So I collected them, I put them in my book, and I soon carried with me this little leather-bound, book, this beautiful handmade book. And it was full of these symbols. And I'd take it places. I'd take it into the metaphysical shops, I'd take it to workshops, I'd say, does anybody know what these are? And no one could tell me until one day I was in Nanaimo at the Science and Spirituality Expo or conference or something like that with Greg Braden and Lynn McTaggart and Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza and like all these amazing names. I was very excited to be there and listening to all these incredible speakers and all that they had to share. But I carried this book with me, hoping that someone at this place would have a clue what these symbols were. And someone kind of said, oh, light language, light code, something. Everyone who looked at it loved them, wanted the original book. How much? They'd give me the deed to their house. They wanted this book so badly. So I came away from this event knowing that I had to publish. It was like I got beaten over the head enough times that I knew that I had to publish this book. So this book is the Little Book of Light Codes, which has touched so many people. And I published it, I self-published, and I truly felt that if it helped one person, I had done my job. Well, it's helped a lot of people, and I am beyond grateful and touched at the number of people that reach out to me and share with me their incredible experiences. And so many of them are like in disbelief that looking at these symbols can do so much, that they can feel so much, that they can get downloads of information, that they can have vivid dreams, that they can have visceral reactions, that they, all kinds of experiences unique to each person. But the common theme is that it's powerful and it's made a difference. So that was the Little Book of Light Codes. And this book has spurred me on to continue going deeper in my journey, to learn more, to become more masterful of my being. And as I have become more masterful of my being, so many of my challenges, my life challenges, have truly softened, have dissipated. Not everything's gone, but when I encounter a challenge, I have so many tools now, and those tools are powerful. They work. Sometimes we get stumped. Sometimes we don't know what to do, but that just means that we're going to learn. We're going to gain more tools. We're going to become more masterful. So for those of you who are on this journey, and you could be anywhere. You could be at the very beginning when you're like me, falling off a horse and having my life turned completely upside down, being completely shut down with high dose medication where there's no life, no light at the end of the tunnel, nothing, literally nothing. No friends, hardly any family around, no partner, right? Alone. Thank God I had my mom. But that was it. And a lot of pain. I had a lot of pain. But to come from a place, whatever that is, it can look very different for different people. And then emerge from this as if you're put in a cocoon And this cocoon is dark, and sometimes it's painful. And then you emerge from this cocoon, and as you emerge, you're seeing specks of light. And that light is coming in, right? And so for me, it was these light codes came into my life. And these connections were made with different healers, with Rosalind Briere and Ken Weintraub, and with other beautiful, beautiful people, whether they're students or other teachers, other healers. People come into your life, and you work with those people, and you learn about yourself, and you get better at processing the energies that you're carrying. And in the beginning, we're carrying a lot of dysfunctional energy because we haven't done the work yet. So, we plug away, and it can feel overwhelming, and it can feel like it's never ending. But you do move. You keep moving forward. It's one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And eventually, you look back and you realize how far you've come. You've realized how your relationships have changed for the better. You realize what you're doing now compared to what you did 5 years ago or 10 years ago or a year ago or a month ago. You realize how your life has changed and how much better it is. Even if it's just a little bit, there's a difference. And that helps us to continue to move forward. And as we put one foot in front of the other, we're gaining momentum. And that momentum is taking us in the direction of the most magical and beautiful space in our lives. Now, I've come to realize but it really always comes down to how are you living within yourself? How is your energy? Is it smooth, calm, coherent? Is it erratic? Is it spiky? Is it off kilter? That's what we need to address. When you can get your body, when you can get your field, your energy bodies and field in a coherent space where everything's smooth and calm and coherent, this is when you are going to be attracting the most beautiful things in your life. This is when you're going to be experiencing a lot more smoothness in the external world because you yourself have become smooth. So I hope that this has been inspiring for you. I hope this has helped you. Perhaps you can take some of this story and apply it to your own life. Again, everyone's in different places. It's going to look different for every person. But take what I've said and think, how does this mirror what I'm experiencing right now? And as you work with your journey, with your path, with your challenges, as you work with those, as you move forward with those, accepting those, acknowledging them, releasing them, you will get more beauty coming to you. They may not be light codes. They might be something very unique and special to you. And that's what I hold the space for all of you watching this. I hold the space that you move into that softness and that sweetness and that gentle nature that's driven from the heart, and that you just attract in your incredible gifts and talents. So, all blessings to you, my friends. And it's okay to reach out and ask for help when you need it. Lord knows I did. It's okay. It's needed. We need each other as we move through this journey. On different stages of the journey too, you need different people. So I want to put it out there for you. If you feel a connection with me, please reach out. We do lots of different sessions. We do workshops. There's lots of opportunity. You have these videos to watch. You have Instagram to check out, Facebook, Pinterest a little bit, the books. So, all blessings on your journey. I wish you the most beautiful and amazing and wonderful, wonderful day. Until next time.